Welcome to Edgecore Enterprise Switches training program. This video will introduce the Edgecore Enterprise Switch Port-channel function. The video consists of 4 sections. First, we will give a basic overview of link aggregation. Second, we will show you how to configure a static port channel. Third, we will demonstrate how to configure the LACP setting on switches. Finally, we will discuss how to configure the load balancing mechanism to achieve optimal traffic distribution across the port channel interfaces. Before we start, let's clarify what is link aggregation. What is port channel? What's the difference between VLAN trunking and port trunk? Link aggregation allows you to combine multiple Ethernet links into a single logical link between 2 networked devices. This can improve the bandwidth, reliability, and load balancing of the network. The traffic choose a path based on the configured hashing mechanism. Although the link aggregation group contains multiple separate physical interfaces, they behave as a single interface. So when we receive a broadcast packet from port A, it will only forward one copy to the link aggregation group. In Edgecore Ethernet switch, the link aggregation is also called port trunk or port channel. VLAN trunk allows unknown VLAN groups to pass through the specified interface. Use this feature, you can configure a tunnel across one or more intermediate switches that pass traffic for VLAN groups, to which they do not belong. This figure shows VLANs 10, 20, and 30 are configured on switches A and B. Switches C, D, and E automatically allow frames with VLAN group tags 10, 20, and 30 to pass through their VLAN trunking ports. We'll explain VLAN function in the next video of Unit 6 VLAN topic. In this video, we are talking about the link aggregation, also called port trunk or port channel. Link aggregation offers the following benefits. Cost effectiveness. Link aggregation can improve bandwidth without buying new equipment. This can save money on a physical network upgrade. Increased bandwidth. The aggregated physical links offer higher bandwidth than a single link. Redundancy. When a physical link in the link aggregation group becomes unavailable, traffic is smoothly and instantly shifted to a different physical link in the group. Load balanced. Traffic can be load balanced across the physical links to enhance reliability and availability. Static and dynamic are the main types of link aggregation group. Static trunk requires manual configuration, while dynamic trunk uses LACP to automatically agree on settings with the other device. Based on your network environment and application to choose one to configure your port channel. The dynamic trunks are generally more scalable than static trunks, as they can adapt to the changes in growth of the network more easily and flexibly. However, static trunks may be more suitable for some scenarios where compatibility, simplicity, or reliability are more important than flexibility or automation. In the following sessions, we'll explain how to configure static trunk and dynamic trunk in the Edgecore Enterprise Switch. The static trunks require manual configuration at both ends of the links. To prevent a loop, use the web interface or CLI to configure the trunk on the devices at both ends before connecting them physically. Next, we will show you how to create a static trunk step by step. The following steps help you to configure a static port channel. Please note, do not connect the devices to each other using more than one Ethernet cable before we set up the port channel on each device to prevent loop. Step 1. Select the ports with the same speed that we want to add into static port channel. Step 2. Create port channel. Step 3. Add ports to a port channel. Step 4. Connect cables. Step 5. Check the port LED for each connected port on switch. Now, let's use CLI command to create a static port channel. Type interface port channel and a question mark to view the port channel ID range, which is 1 to 28. This is the maximum number of port channels on this switch. Type interface port channel 20 to create port channel 20 and use the description command to specify the purpose of the port channel. Next, go to the interface configuration mode on the selected interfaces, such as port 1 to port 4, and assign the port channel group ID. To view the port channel information, type the Show Interface Status port channel with the port channel group ID. The port channel group in our example has 4 members. The Show Interface Brief command is an alternative for verifying our setting. We can see that trunk 20 has been created with 4 member ports, port 1 to port 4. If we type Show Interface Status port channel with a group ID that does not exist, we will get a warning message that says the trunk group does not exist. If the port channel has been created but has no member, we will get a message that says trunk 21, which has no member, could not be configured or displayed. To remove the ports from a port channel group, use the No Channel Group command. Using the No Interface Port Channel command, to remove a trunk from the switch will delete the port channel immediately, even if there are member ports in the port channel. Please be careful with this command. You need to unplug the cables from the port channel before using this command to prevent loops. LACP is a protocol that allows multiple physical ports to negotiate and form a logical link, or a port channel, between 2 devices. Whole series of Edgecore Enterprise switches support LACP. That helps to prevent errors in the link aggregation setup process. Without LACP, a wrong connection can cause problems in the network, such as loops, duplicate frames, or inconsistent configurations. With LACP, the ports can negotiate with each other and exchange information, such as port priority, port state, and port admin key, to determine if they are compatible and eligible to join the port channel group. If the port does not receive LACP PDU from the link partner, it will not join the port channel group and will remain in a standalone state. IEEE 802.3 AD defines LACP, Link Aggregation Control Protocol. LACP allows a network device to negotiate an automatic bundling of links by sending LACP packets to their peer, a directly connected device that also implements LACP. The LACP PDU has unique system ID, which consists of system priority and system MAC address and admin key. And then the switch based these information to form a link aggregation group. The ports join the same link aggregation group if the following conditions are met. 1. The LACP system priority matches. 2. The LACP port admin key matches. 3. The LACP port channel admin key matches, if configured. However, if the port channel admin key is set, the member ports must have the same port admin key value to join that group. Look at this figure. We have switch 1 that establishes 2 port channels to connect to switch 2 and switch 3 respectively. We'll show you how to configure dynamic port channel. Please note, do not connect cables until you complete the LACP settings. Step 1. Configure admin key on port channel group 1. Step 2. Enable LACP on member ports of port channel group 1. Step 3. Configure the same admin key on the other member ports of port channel group 1. Do the same things for the port channel group 2 on switch 1. Repeat step 1 to step 3 on the switch 2 and switch 3. Connect cables when all settings are done. We recommend the administrator well plan your network topology and do documentation. It'll be easy to maintain or troubleshoot your network. Let's see how to create a dynamic port channel using CLI commands. In this example, we have switch 1 and switch 2, and we will use port 4 to 6 to form a dynamic trunk group with an admin key of 100. Step 1. Use interface port channel 1 command to create a port channel. Step 2. Configure admin key to 100. Step 3. Enter interface 4, 5, and 6. Step 4. Configure admin key to 100. Step 5. Use command LACP to enable LACP. Repeat steps 1 to 5 on switch 2. Connect the cables between the two switches, and then use the command show interface status port channel 1 to verify if the LACP dynamic port channel has been created. The system priority and switch MAC address are used to identify the link aggregation group. The same value must be configured for the same group member ports. When there are more than 8 connected LACP ports, the local LACP system priority is compared to the remote LACP system priority. The device with the higher system priority controls candidate port selection to the LAG. A lower value indicates a higher priority. If the system priorities are the same, the local and remote MAC addresses are compared. The port selection for the port channel is determined by the device with the lower MAC address, which has a higher priority. Based on the LACP port priority values, the switch select 8 ports with the lowest values as the active ports. If the port priority is the same, the lower physical port number has a higher priority. The maximum number of bundled ports in a port channel is 8. When there are more than 8 ports in the dynamic port channel, the additional ports will be placed in standby mode, and will only be enabled if one of the active links fails. Look at this figure. The switch 1's system priority is 100, and switch 2's system priority is 200. So switch 1 controls candidate port selection to the port channel. Based on the LACP port priority values, switch 1 chooses the lower ones from port 1 to port 10 as the active ports. When the port priority is the same, the priority is determined by the physical port number, with lower numbers being higher. This means that port 1 to 8 have higher priority than port 9 and 10. If port 6 goes down, the port 9 is selected to replace the downlink. The LACP actor system priority command configures a port's LACP system priority. The system priority is combined with the switch's MAC address to form the link aggregation group identifier. This identifier is used to indicate a specific link aggregation group during LACP negotiations with other systems. The port must be configured with the same system priority to join the same port channel group. The port priority can be used to decide which member ports are active or standby when the dynamic port channel has more than 8 ports. If an active link fails, the standby port with the highest priority will automatically activate and replace the failed link. In this example, we can enter the port 10 in type LACP actor port priority 300 to configure port priority. The purpose of load balance is to use the available bandwidth efficiently and avoid congestion on any single link within the port channel. Edgecore Enterprise Switch provides several hashing mechanisms for different network environment. We'll show you how to configure them. In Edgecore Enterprise Switch, we provide 6 types of hashing methods, which the user can base on the network environment and application to configure their load balance algorithm. The goal is to distribute the traffic evenly across the available links and avoid congestion or underutilization of any link. The switch uses a hash algorithm that takes some information from the packet, such as the source and destination MAC addresses, IP addresses, and calculates a hash value. The hash value determines which physical link will be used to forward the packet. The hashing mechanism is decided by the traffic originated side. The consideration when choosing a port channel load balance mechanism is to select the one that best suits the traffic pattern of the network. For example, when the link partner is a layer 3 switch or router, the traffic is destined to different IP addresses. The better choice of load balance algorithm is destination IP address or source and destination IP address. This mechanism uses the source IP address of the packet to calculate the hash value. This is suitable for networks where the traffic originates from different IP addresses to access a remote server. This page demonstrates how to configure load balance for port channel. By typing port channel load balance followed by a question mark, we can see a list of 6 load balance mechanisms. We can select one based on our network environment. This command affects all static and dynamic trunks on the switch. In our example, we use DSTIP, which means using the destination IP address to hash a value and select a physical link in a port channel. We can use the show port channel load balance command to verify our settings. The load balance configuration shows that the destination IP address is used. Let's summarize what this video showed us. Link aggregation is a generic term that allows you to combine multiple physical ports into a single logical link between two switches. It can also be called port channel or port trunk. VLAN trunking allows traffic from unknown VLAN groups to pass through a specified interface. This is completely different from a port trunk. There are two types of port trunk: static trunk, which needs manual setting, and dynamic trunk, which uses LACP to automatically establish a trunk. Depending on the network environment, we can configure different load balance mechanisms. We hope this video can help you learn how to set up static or dynamic port channels, and how to troubleshoot any issues with your port channel. Thank you for joining us, and we are looking forward to seeing you next time. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us anytime.